there, I'm back. So it's been a while since I uploaded on here, too long, to be honest, and it's all really about CanCon. So I've spent a lot of time before CanCon trying to get familiar with a deck that I didn't have a lot of practice with. And then after that, I've actually been working on a video about CanCon, but unfortunately it's taking way longer than I expected. So the plan is to bring you fortnightly videos now that I have a lot more opportunities to play Highlander. Some of them will be about the decks that I'm actually testing for big events like Worlds at the end of April and the RC side event next weekend. And the other ones will be about the more janky brews that I'm coming up with. I've had a lot of time to create some truly terrible nonsense, so I hope that you're excited for that. So in the meantime, let's talk about Blue Moon. I picked up the deck in December of last year because I really wanted access to two cards at CanCon, Counterspell and Fury. The decklist I played came from Michael, who posted it on the Discord alongside a really helpful guide with matchup and sideboard advice, which was invaluable to help me pick up the deck fairly quickly. The deck's main strengths are its affordability and its inevitability. It's great at punishing greedy mana bases and mid-range creature decks. It can struggle to put on pressure though, which is a bit of a vulnerability against combo decks with a lot of density or ways to protect their go turn. Blue Moon is an Izzet Draw Go deck built to maximize the power of Blood Moon effects to punish decks with greedy mana bases. Read every Highlander deck. It's really hard to win the game when your lands don't tap for the right colors of mana, and it's even harder if they don't untap at all. But even if you don't have an early moon, the efficient interaction and abundance of 2-for-1s, especially Lutri as a companion, make it really easy to take over against pretty much any value pile. It's basically hard control that can high roll you, but those high rolls are really important. Decks like Storm or Lands match up really well into your creature interaction, so something like a Moon can give you the time you need to sculpt a hand that can actually shut them down. The reason I thought this would be a good strategy for CanCon, it all ties into the December points announcement. Storm, Grixis, and Bots all got punished, while Nadu, Breach, and Walks got away fairly light by the very good reason of not being good. At the time, these were all creature decks with a combo top end, so having access to removal in the front and counters in the back felt like a pretty strong place to be. And let me tell you, coming off of 2 months playing Flash, having a deck with only good cards in it was such a strange feeling. It was so bizarre to be looking at an opening hand and not need to decide which 5 of these cards were the ones that actually mattered this game. And it just made the strategy so simple, which was really refreshing. Blue Moon is good, clean Magic with a big emphasis on resources and low strain on the combat step. Hard control is all based on the principle that if you have something and your opponent has nothing, this is good and you are winning. As such, it's all about 2 numbers, cards and mana. Blue Moon has more outright card draw than almost any other deck in the format, so by trading 1-for-1 with your opponent's threats, you set yourself up to take over by dropping a Charter Course or Lorien Revealed through any convenient window, slowly choking your opponent out. Of course, it takes a lot of mana to be able to dig and interact on the same turn, so you'll want to use your cantrips to try to make sure you're hitting those land drops. I'm really comfortable in a lot of matchups just to keep 5 lands, as long as those last 2 spells are some kind of interaction, because I know I'm going to use those lands the whole game. The end goal of this play pattern is to present a game state where you have cards and your opponent does not. At this point, you're able to trade 1-for-1 with whatever they top deck while continuing to chain draw spell into draw spell. You'll find a threat at some point, and then their life total will be reduced to 0. You're not the worst at top decking, since if you have enough mana, you can always just rip a Dig Through Time or something to instantly refuel, but it's not a place that you want to be. The most instructive matchup I found with this deck, which I actually got to play at CanCon, is the Mirror Match. Being inexperienced with the deck, I leaned really heavily on Michael's matchup guide. Hit your land drops, do not attempt to win the game. I used my card selection effects to take lands over threats, and used my counter spells to fight over card draw. I let my opponent cast their threats first, and I always had removal because my hand wasn't clogged up with threats of my own. It's a fascinating mirror, and I really recommend you try it out, as just to fully appreciate the value of things like land drops in control decks. Sideboarding is also fascinating. I spent a lot of time studying the sideboard. Absolutely not because there was nothing to do at work except see how many spins I could get my office chair to do on one kick down the corridor. But because I wanted to build my confidence in my understanding of what the matchups would be like. It really helped me to appreciate what a good sideboard can do, especially the value of being able to swap out medium removal for good removal. Not needing to galvanic discharge a Deadpool, but being able to blue blast it. Or not waiting for my turn to flame slash an Ice Till, but actually submerging it into its own mill trigger. A huge boosts in my deck's efficiency. Having a sideboard that was full of cards which were definitely smaller boosts than outright hoses, but still noticeable upgrades to my main deck, made it really flexible, and I felt like even though I didn't play a lot of matchups that I knew in advance, I still felt like I knew exactly what to do after game one. And blue, especially blue control, gets a lot of a reputation as being this sort of cerebral colour for big brain smarty pants, like me. But Blue Moon really isn't that. It's just boils the game down into, does this kill me? Does this make a thing that will kill me? Or I don't care. It rewards patience as well as good deck building for the meta that you're going into. It's strong, it's fun, and it's great for getting a feel of how the structure underlying Magic influences games. I'd really recommend you give Blue Moon a go if you're not an experienced Blue Moon player, if you're new to the format in general, or if you just want something cheap to try out and change it up. I am psyched to be back to regular uploads, especially to bring you some of the complete nonsense that I have been itching to talk about for the last few months. So I hope to see you when I get to that. Until then, good luck, have fun, and may the best wizard win.